Masai Booty, all of you.
It's just me watching and my 5 friends. So 5 friends, are you ready?
Did it make sense? What you just did? Did it?
Welcome to this news podcast. You know there's guys who talk like that on like the radio.
It's day 2, episode 2 of Zambia. What a day. What we're doing here, we take a look at the day's biggest news stories and just add a bit of context, but also just keep you in the know. You rarely have electricity, so we want you to know what's going on in the country everywhere you go. But we also want to do it in a fun and a bit of an entertaining way. I say a bit because I'm pretty boring. So I'm going to try and make it as snappy as possible, as informative as possible, as much as I can. So let's get rolling. My name is Dingindaba Jonah Buyoya. We're starting off by taking a look at some of the stories making news. Let me just run you through some of the headlines. Some of the things we're going to get into today. Anthrax is worrying people from Sinazongwe. The farmers there are worried because over 32 animals, including hippos, have died. We get into detail into this. You probably remember the craze when people did not want to eat any meat last year because of anthrax. And a bit of this year too. Illegal land grabbing rocks Chipata's old bait stadium. The people behind this are suspected to be UPND cadres, and they have been accused of illegal land grabbing and allocation. And there's a lot of outrage among the local people and the local authority as well. They're quite concerned about this bad behavior. I'll give you the details in this story. But I think one of the leading stories at the moment has got to do with Petauke Member of Parliament, who's still at large. He ran away from lawful custody when he was in hospital. Now his wife and the 5 officers have been formally charged and arrested. So I'll be giving you the details into that story. But let's get into it. Let's start with the illegal land grabbing that has rocked Chipata's Old Bait Stadium. Chipata City's historical Old Bait Stadium, a symbol of community pride, they say, is now at the center of a brewing illegal land allocation scandal. The suspected UPND members, cadres in this case, have been accused of illegal land grabbing, sparking outrage among local authorities and residents. Our reporter Samuel Sylvester Kwabe did go to the bridge, to the stadium, not the bridge, and gave us this update. So let's take a look at this and then we'll talk about it very quickly after.
Chipata City's historical Old Bait Stadium, a symbol of community pride, is now at the center of a brainstorm. A visit to the stadium reveals shocking evidence of illegal land allocation. Suspected UPND cadres have dug foundations and are preparing to construct buildings without necessary permits. Former Mayor Patrick Terekachirwa is one of the Chipata residents condemning the illegal activities.
The UPN government says it's a government of rules and laws, but I believe this should not be condoned. This is wrong. We shall not allow illegalities in terms of allocating plots illegally. Why did they consult the council? Where are the site plans? People just waking up because they belong to a political party to be doing this. I don't think some of us will allow it. This is wrong.
Chipata City Council denies any involvement, stating that no development has been sanctioned.
We are calling everyone who wants to rush into putting up illegal structures at Old Bait to stop, because we have a design of how we want Old Bait to come out, of how we want Old Bait to look like. So we're not going to mind of the organization that people are coming from, to bring in disorder in the city. We still stand firm to say the local authority will continue to maintain law and order. Therefore, The structures at Old Bait Stadium are not supposed to be there.
UPND Eastern Province Youth Chairperson Lyson Nyirenda distances the party from the illegal activities.
And as youth chairperson, I'm not in support of what is happening. I want to assure the nation that I'll follow it up to the latter. If at all they want land, there's a procedure which they're supposed to follow. Actually, the owner of the land, I think it's the council. So if they want land, the best is to go to the council and follow the procedure. Then I think at the end of the day they'll be given. But if really they're sharing land without the knowledge of the council or even the leadership in the province, it is very wrong.
As the outrage continues, residents demand justice and an end to the illegal land grabbing. Will authorities take decisive action? For now, the fate of Chipata Old Bait Stadium hangs in balance. Samuel Sylvester Kwawe, Diamond News, Eastern Zambia.
Now. It's almost as if all political parties and all politicians are born from the same mother, because the consistency with which a lot of them are full of rubbish is incredible. That, it doesn't even make sense. It's almost as if political party cadres are just waiting for the opportunity. And I think that's the reason why political leaders have to be very cautious, because political party cadres have got mostly one interest, and it's to benefit themselves. And they can benefit themselves in whichever way they can if left unchecked. We've seen this before. One of the biggest scandals in the Patriotic Front regime was land allocation, illegal land allocation. It was incredibly high. And you find a lot of people that got this illegal land, and they have got duplexes on these pieces of land. It seems that it's stretching. Now, they don't do it in Lusaka anymore. It's stretching outside of the city because it takes a lot more time before people realize what's going on in the smaller towns. And, a lot of people take their time before they react to such things, unless someone is involved or someone's land is involved. But there's a lot of times when, these guys are allocated land, first of all, in areas that are not designated for human habitation. And the fact that it keeps happening with every government is really frustrating. And I have to be honest. We have to be honest. It takes a lot for a government to deal with such complex problems, but they've got to deal with such complex problems. That's what a government is responsible for. So the government has to deal with this and deal with it urgently. Now, one of the things that is quite urgent is this anthrax outbreak. 32 animals, including cattle, goats, and hippos, have died as a result of the latest outbreak of anthrax in Malimawad, and this is in Sinazongwe, Southern Province. The veterinary officer there, Dr. Shonga, has said that about 8,000 animals, which were not presented during the main vaccination program in April this year, have also been vaccinated. And the council there, the chairperson of the council, Cliff Siajiwega, revealed that the council has put up restriction orders in hotspot areas to curb the spread. It's one of the frustrating, scary, actually, is the correct word, outbreaks in animal disease, because it's got an impact on the human being. But there's details in my colleague Helga Juwe's report. So let's take a look at this and what she says there.
Following the recent anthrax disease outbreak in Malima ward of Sinazongwe district in Southern Province, District Veterinary Officer has confirmed that so far animals, including the hippos, have died. Dr. Chalemba Shonga confirmed to Diamond News, but was also quick to mention that the situation is under control, as no case has been recorded so far for the past 2 days.
Total, there are about 32 livestock that have died. So these are segregated into hippo, cattle, and the pig and the goats. Yeah, the situation is stable. We actually discovered that there are hotspots, so we started vaccinating those areas. So in the past 2 days, we haven't recorded any cases in livestock. We have vaccinated 8,000 animals. This is just a mop-up. Because initially in April, May, we vaccinated a total of about more than 125,000 animals.
Sinazongo Town Council Chairperson Cliff Siachweka says council working with the vet department have restricted animal movement to reduce the risk and further spread of the disease.
Because what happened, it came out of a hippo again. Like last time, people found a hippo dead, longer than I think you get it. So, they were advised to hippo you don't eat, you know how people are. So what measures that have been done? One, vet are on the ground to sensitize the people's one. Secondly, also they have started vaccinating the animals that side. Thirdly, animals that side are cordoned, so they are not allowed to move from that area in other areas, so that the disease is controlled and is contained in one area.
And according to the press statement on the anthrax disease situation in Sinazongwe district, Minister of Fisheries and Livestock Peter Kapala announced that in order to reduce the risk of contaminating the environment, all sites where livestock and wildlife have died during this period will be marked and decontamination in line with the protocols. The minister also appealed to the general populace not to panic, adding that his ministry has put up measures to prevent further spread of the disease, and that Sinazongwe district has vaccines available to attend to any animals in need. Helga Chibwe, Damo News, in Southern Province.
So, what is advised always is to be very cautious. And I think that it needs to be a trend beyond just the outbreaks, that people need to be very cautious with the meat they consume, which is supposed to be the basic principle. Not just meat, but the food that you consume must be safe. So please be safe out there. Please be cautious. And it's not OCD, it's just you being a hygienic. Practicing good hygiene is just basic standard, basic expectation. We want you alive, so keep safe. One of the most bizarre stories. I think let's also just take a moment and recognize how bizarre this story of Emmanuel Banda is. It is one of the most bizarre things to happen in Zambia's parliament. But also, this parliament, this specific parliament, has got way too much going on. You've got members of parliament abducted, arrested, escaping arrest. You've got members of parliament jailed for being arsonists. You've got members of parliament jailed for malicious damage to property. It is just a bizarre parliament. It is a bizarre parliament, isn't it? But police have formally arrested Lombe Chali, the wife of Petauke Central Member of Parliament, Emmanuel Banda, and several security personnel for their alleged role in aiding Mr. Banda's escape from lawful custody. 6 people, including his wife, and security personnel have been released on bond pending court appearance. And let's get the details from Samuel Kwade. Again, he's our star reporter today. He gives us the details in the story.
On 4th August 2024, Petauke Central Member of Parliament Emmanuel Banda escaped from lawful custody at Chipata Central Hospital while seeking medical care. Lombe Chali, one of the Emmanuel Banda's wives, was arrested and charged on August 9, 2024 for aiding a prisoner to escape. Further investigations led to the arrest of 2 police officers, Mofungwe Phineas and Kambole Benson, and 3 prison warders, Sakala Moses, Nathan Mbao, and Musa Spider Zuru. All 6 suspects have been released on police bond and will appear in court soon to answer to the charges leveled against them. Zambia Police Service spokesperson Ray Hamonga says the police remain committed to upholding the law and ensuring that those who breach the law, regardless of their status or position, are held accountable.
The Zambia Police Service wishes to inform the public about the arrest of Lombe Chali on the 9th of August 2024, one of the wives of Emmanuel Banda, who escaped from lawful custody was admitted at Chipata General Hospital. Lombe Charlie was formally charged on the 9th of August 2024 and was subsequently released on police bond. Following further investigations into the circumstances surrounding the escape, 2 police officers, Mufungwe Phineas and Kambole Benson, as well as 3 prison wardeners, namely Moses Sakala, Nathan Mbao, and Musa Spider Zulu, were arrested on the 12th of August 2024 and later released on police bond. They all have been charged with the offense of aiding a prisoner to escape contrary section 120 of Chapter 7 of the laws of Zambia. All 6 suspects have been released on police bond and will appear in court soon to answer to the charges leveled against them.
About of 2 million kwacha has been offered for information leading to Mr. Banda's capture. He has been placed on the police wanted list, and authorities are urging citizens to come forward with any information regarding his whereabouts. Samuel Sylvester Kwawe, Diamond News, Eastern Zambia.
I'm going to run your mind a bit if you've not been following the story. Emmanuel Banda is an independent member of parliament for Petauke Central Constituency. He contested this seat after he contested the seat in 2021, and he won against the Patriotic Front's Dora Silia. Dora Silia was from the ruling party, but you've got to follow what happened with this election quite closely. Emmanuel Banda had a lot of support from within the Patriotic Front. God knows what was going on within the Patriotic Front at the time, but Emmanuel Banda got all the support, and he became a member of parliament. But the juice about him is what happened before he was member of parliament. He was very famous for being a notorious guy. He at some point, is said to have stormed the Lusaka Central Police Station, and this got a lot of people shocked, because how does that happen? I remember vividly the Deputy Inspector General of Police for Administration then, and that was Boni Kapeso, talking on an interview. It should have been on Movie TV, if I'm not mistaken, or on Diamond TV. I don't quite remember. But he was very strong, and he was warning Emmanuel Banda. And this was a high-ranking member of the Patriotic Front, because he was the provincial youth chairman. That's a pretty high post to have in the provincial structures of the political party. But he was found in such scandals. And what he's being accused of now is armed robbery. Armed robbery. And he made his way to parliament. And, it's almost as if, I say this all the time, it's almost as if trouble follows him. It's almost as if trouble follows him. I had an interview with him before he became member of parliament, and I was asking him these things. And I asked him if, he's a troublemaker and if trouble follows him. He denied it, obviously. But it's always as if trouble follows him. And I find it, and let's be honest, I find it really strange when people try to justify someone escaping lawful custody. I don't think it should be encouraged. It should never be encouraged. If there is any grievance with regards how the state has handled the case of Emmanuel Banda, then the state must be called out and people must hold them accountable. But there's no permissible situation where somebody must be applauded for escaping lawful custody. That's lawlessness. That's lawlessness, and that's making the country ungovernable. And is a lawmaker. The irony, oh my God, it's just incredible. And I guess I can talk on and on and on about this story. Former President Edgar Lungu's economic advisor, Hiwene Mwinga, has told the Lusaka Magistrate Court that he initially declined the job offer from Mr. Lungu because he had enough money when he returned from Tunisia. Now, there's juice in this story when you start hearing the numbers. Mr. Mwinga, along with his wife, are facing a case before court. His wife, Mercy Munsanje, and their son, Hagantu, are facing 72 corruption-related charges involving property worth 41 million kwacha and cash that is amounting to over $238,900. Now, when the matter came up before the court for defense, Mr. Mwinga said he earned $1.6 million working for the African Development Bank. He received over $500,000 in travel allowances, and he made an additional $3 million from selling clothes and shoes imported from Scotland to neighbors in Tunisia. Now, one thing for sure is these clothes were not thrift, because $3 million is a lot of. Let's take a look at this report by Best Jerry.
A former economic advisor to the president, Heben Mwinga, has revealed that he initially declined an offer to work at State House under former President Edgar Lungu due to his substantial personal wealth and ongoing investments when he returned from Tunisia. In this matter, before the Lusaka Magistrate Court, Mr. Mwinga, along with his wife, Messi Musanje, and their son, Harantu, are facing 72 corruption-related charges involving property worth over 41 million kwacha and cash amounting to over 238,900 United States dollars. Mr. Mwinga detailed his financial status, investments, and the circumstances that led to him eventually accept the State House role despite his initial reservations. When the matter came up before court for defense, Mr. Mwinga said he earned 1.6 million United States dollars working for the African Development Bank, received over 500,000 United States dollars in travel allowances, and made an additional 3 million United States dollars from selling clothes and shoes imported from Scotland to neighbors in Tunisia. He testifies that he told Mr. Lungu if he came to work, he would be so busy to work for peanuts, but eventually the former president convinced him. He also denies claims that his farm in Mwembeshi cost 12.4 million kwacha, stating that the initial investment was 200,000 United States dollars. The accused explained that by the time he was offered the position, he had already accumulated significant wealth through his work at the African Development Bank and various business ventures, including a successful fish farming operation and a commercial transportation business. During his testimony before Magistrate Irene Washimanga, the accused provided detailed accounts of his investments, particularly focusing on his Mwembeshi farm and Salama Park flats. He disputes the valuations presented in court, asserting that the cost of developing his properties far exceeded the figures provided by state witnesses. Mr. Mwinga emphasizes that he had personally overseen and participated in much of the construction work, significantly reducing labor costs. He also discussed his fish farming business, which he described as highly profitable, generating significant income annually. Concluding his testimony, Mr. Mwinga has criticized the state's case against him, arguing that the prosecution has failed to present a complete and accurate picture of his financial situation. He urges the court to consider all his sources of income, including those from his time at the AFDB, his investments, and his earnings from government service in order to arrive at a fair judgment. Trial continues on August 22nd, 2024. Best Jerry, Diamond News.
Finally, truckers and trade stakeholders are breathing a sigh of relief as the Zambian government announced the reopening of the 3 border posts with the Democratic Republic of Congo, the DRC. And this was yesterday, ending weeks of disruption to regional trade. The move comes after a bilateral meeting between the Ministers of Trade and Commerce of Zambia and the DRC in Lubumbashi, the DRC. I think it was in Kinshasa on the 12th of August 2024. The meeting resolved to reopen the Sakanya, Mokambo, and Kasumbalesa border posts, which have been closed due to security concerns and administrative issues. And this has been quite an issue. I mean, a lot of people have had things to weigh in, but I think that this is not a political issue. It has never been a political issue. This is a diplomatic issue. And I have to be honest, it's nothing strange when two countries have these rifts. We've seen what's going on at the moment, and it happens a lot. Look at big giants like the US and China. They usually have their conflict, but they trade a lot amongst themselves. And it's okay to have these trade disagreements, because when you look at the argument from the Congolese side, it's a pretty solid argument. And I think it's a fair argument that, they have to protect the interest of the local industry, which is progressive. But there's also another side to it, and that's collective responsibility. That cutting it off so abruptly is hostile, isn't it? And I guess that's the response by the Zambian government to shut down the border. But the bottom line the bottom line is Zambia and the DRC are not enemies. That Zambia and the DRC actually need each other. Zambia needs business in the Katanga region of the DRC. And, you know, a lot of the people in the DRC, Katanga region, need some of the produce, some of the supplies that are exported from Zambia into that country. And I guess the bottom line of all this is that the two countries need each other. And kudos for the responsible management of this, that it has been resolved quickly and hopefully can be resolved permanently. But
My producer is saying I have to shut up and leave. And I said, I guess I've said enough. But Zambia, what a day.